What's going on, everybody? This is Jerome Moore, host and creator of Deep Dish Conversations. And firstly, I want to say thank you for all love and support, and thank you for exploring the perspectives of social change with me on this platform. I want to encourage you all to like, subscribe, and follow us on YouTube and on your favorite podcast listen platform. And make sure you give us a 5-star rating if you're loving the Deep Dish Conversations. I appreciate all of the support again. I hope you all enjoy this episode. This is Deep Dish Conversations, a series in which I, Jerome Moore, sits down with prominent figures in Nashville, Tennessee to talk about social issues over amazing deep dish pizza. Deep Dish Conversations models how to have conversations about deep issues around racism, housing, policing, poverty, and more. Plus, you will get an idea for where to get your next slice of pizza from. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy Deep Dish Conversations. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Deep Dish Conversations. And we got an infamous guest, Honorable Judge Sheila Calloway, the Honorable. You know, that's a big H on that. That's a proper noun. I went to school. That's a proper noun. Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, Jerome. I'm super excited about this opportunity and love the pizza.
See, she's super excited about the pizza.
I'm super excited about the pizza.
What about me?
What about the conversation? Well. I love Jerome as well. I love that pizza though. It's wonderful.
How is it?
Absolutely wonderful.
You got the what did you get the?
I got the deep dish meat lovers. Okay. So it's got everything on it. Everything I could ever think.
And I'm gonna be highly impressed if she finished this.
I'm gonna finish it.
I'm gonna be highly impressed. I got the spinach margarita thin crust because I'm trying to be thin, you know, so I can look good for y'all and for myself. But
I'm trying to be thin someday, but not today.
Hey, today. Look. You look good how you look, you know.
Amen.
Black is always beautiful, no matter shape, size, skin. It's always beautiful.
Amen.
It's always beautiful. And you look beautiful as always.
Thank you.
Even though I know you probably, got one of the most stressful jobs in Nashville. You don't wear it on your face.
I appreciate that.
So let's get into it. And while we eating and enjoying this pizza, originally from Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky.
That is correct.
How was growing up there?
You know, growing up in Kentucky was awesome. I had the privilege to grow up with my parents, who are still married and together today. Okay. 54 years later, I think they're still married. They'll be celebrating 55 years of marriage this year.
Everybody can't say that.
Everybody can't say that. Everybody cannot say that. And my parents taught me a lot about loving others. Okay. And a lot about helping other people. Now, literally, when I grew up there, I thought we were super dysfunctional. Right. Because they made us do everything together. Right. You know, like Friday nights when my friends were at the games and hanging out, we had to go out to dinner with my parents. And I'd be like, well, why does everybody else get to go out and I don't? Right. And so I was a little, I probably was the one in the family that pushed that. Like, I want to go with my friends and I want to do these things. How many siblings do you have? It's just me and my older sister. Okay, so you're the youngest. I'm the baby. Oh. I am the baby. Oh. But, them babies. Yes, the babies. But they honestly taught me in ways that I would not understand until I stepped into the job of a public defender, how important family was. And how important it was to have structured time together. Right. And how important that was. And all throughout, every time I can remember, they were always helping people. So like if some cousin who probably wasn't really a cousin needed a place to stay for a couple of weeks, they were at our house. Caring, loving, giving. Caring, loving, giving. They will give you the shirt off their back. They'll give you a place to stay. Those things, they implanted in me from early on, and that helped make who I am today. So anybody in Louisville, Kentucky that needs a place to stay, my parents. They'll do it. So what impact did they have on you, or influence they had on you in the role that you are leading up to the role that you are now as the juvenile court judge? So other than just learning how to help people and to love people and to help people get a second chance, there wasn't much else about the law or the legal system that they influenced me on. I remember, I'll say this, my mom was one of those people that kept everything that me and my sister did. And so every paper, every little project, she would just box them up and, first grade, second grade box. And one day after both of us had moved out of the house, they moved to a bigger house, but they told us to come and get our stuff.
Right.
And I can't stand that. I'm still a little bitter about that. First of all, I'm bitter because you got a bigger house after I left.
That's how they always do.
Yeah.
You would think it's downside. Like, nah,
you would think they would downsize.
We're going to enjoy more space without you.
Right. That's what they said. And not only are we going to enjoy more space without you, we want you to come get your stuff.
Right. Yeah. Like, whenever you can come get it. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
We want you to come get it now. We're not moving it to the new house. I thought.
So wherever you at now, take your stuff with you. This ain't no storage unit.
This ain't no storage. That's what they said. This ain't no storage unit. So anyhow, I went to get my stuff, and I was looking in my 4th grade box, and I wrote a paper in 4th grade that said, when I grow up, I wanted to be a lawyer and help people.
Wow.
And I have absolutely no idea what made me say that. There's no lawyers in our family at the time.
Wow.
The only thing I could possibly think is that we had like some kind of career day at school, and I heard a lawyer talk, and that's probably what I wanted to do.
Wow. And that's amazing because we just had Dr. Sekou Franklin on here, and he said something similar, like he didn't have any really like influence or nothing that like just really struck him to say, I don't know how I got into this work, but I'm here and it just happened. I just kind of fell into it. So that's amazing that people are just kind of like just blessed with being in the right positions at the right time.
Absolutely.
And it works out.
Absolutely. It's having those dreams. And I will tell you, the biggest thing that my parents did for me is that every step of the way, they kept reminding me.
Right.
They kept reminding me, you've got to do better on your grades, because if you're going to law school,
if
you're going to be a lawyer, you have to have good grades.
Right.
And, they encouraged me to do things like join the debate club in high school, because that would be something that helped me to become a lawyer.
Right.
And so, directly they didn't have anything to do with me going to law. Right. But absolutely by their influence and their support.
Support and presence. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think that support and presence plays a huge part in the development of a child. And we'll get into it a little bit, but I've realized that after like high school and college, kind of what was maybe like the separating factor of me going a certain direction compared to some of my like peers in school, same, social economic background and all those things. But what I realized one of the main factors is that like I had present parents. Even though my parents were divorced, they was very in my life and had a hand. Sometimes maybe it's a pinky, but they had something on me that can reel me back in. So that's I know that's really important in your work and your job, and it makes sense now why you're in the position that you're in. So let's go get into the deep stuff, y'all. We got the background. Shout out to the family. Thank you.
I'm ready.
So, and just a shout out to Vanderbilt. You're a graduate of Vanderbilt University.
I am. I'm a little down today, but
yeah, y'all just lost the national state championship in baseball. And Vanderbilt is notorious for winning those things.
Absolutely.
How do I know that? Like, how do I? ESPN.
We've been the national champions twice.
Shout out to Vanderbilt.
I think 2008 and 2019.
Episode Vanderbilt. Come on through.
Come on, Vandy, you got this.
But is that what brought you to Nashville?
Yes. Okay. I came here to go to school at Vanderbilt. Okay. I went both for my undergraduate degree, which was in communication, and then my law degree as well. So I stayed. I went to Vanderbilt 7 years in a row.
You couldn't go back home, so
and I couldn't go back home. They got a bigger house, and they said there wasn't no room for me. How you get a bigger house and you ain't got room for your child? But anyhow,
parents be hard on kids.
They be hard on kids.
So Nashville is it city, as we, so some people like to call it. But in your position, I know you get to see a different perspective of Nashville on a daily basis that, your normal everyday people really don't get to see. And so can you break down to us like your role, your everyday role in your process of your job?
Absolutely. I have the best job in Nashville. The absolute best job.
All right.
As a juvenile court judge, I have the best opportunity to influence so many families and children in our community, more so than anybody else. And that's why I absolutely love my job. I have a staff of about 125 people.
Woo.
I run a separate detention facility.
I just got to plug this in. Okay. When she say staff, when she pulled up, she had somebody else come pick up her car. I don't know what staff role that is, but that's some boss level stuff right there. She said, yeah, I'm hard. Somebody come pick. I was like, okay, yeah, don't worry about it.
Only because I couldn't afford the parking in Nashville.
Yeah, you just got a whole employee that just picks up your car. Yeah, that's just a lot cheaper.
It's a lot cheaper.
That says a lot about the Nashville parking prices.
Absolutely.
All right, okay. I just had to plug that in because I just thought that was your boss. But so, best job in the world,
125 employees.
Yeah,
1,000 staff employees. I have 125 employees, give and take a few here and there. We run a detention facility that I'm responsible for that has about 80 employees.
Okay.
They house, on average, about now 30 youth.
Okay.
24/7 hour facility.
Wow.
And we have the opportunity and the ability to partner with so many different agencies around our community to make sure that all of our families and their children are doing well. When people break down the cases, I actually do hear cases. I sit on the bench every day.
Okay.
I usually hear cases from 9 o'clock in the morning till 4:30, 5 o'clock in the evening.
It's a long day.
With the lunch break. I got to have my lunch break. I always tell all the litigants that are in the courtroom, you want me to take a break for lunch.
Right.
Because if you don't, it's not happy. It's not pretty on the other side of no lunch. But so I do hear cases every day. The nature of the cases that we hear, I can break down in basically 3 categories.
Okay.
The first category is that we hear primarily, the third of the cases are dealing with parents who are not married.
Okay.
And so if you are not married, never been married, you have kids together, any issues that you have with your children and co-parenting, they are heard in juvenile court. So we do DNA testing.
Okay.
We
need those.
We need those. We literally open up the envelope in court and say, you are the daddy, or you are not the father.
Oh, it's on Jerry Springer.
We do some Jerry Springer, Maury Povich. We have some Maury Povich moments in our courthouse.
We need to put the cameras in now.
We do. We determine who should be the primary residential parent, who should be the alternate residential parent. We determine how much time each parent should have with their child, and then with whoever's the alternate residential parent, how much they should pay in child support, and if they don't pay child support, what should happen to them if they don't.
So I want to break this down.
Okay.
Because this is real deep. My father was on child support, right? My daddy was great, though. My dad's still great to this day. And I think, especially for a lot of black men, I don't know the stats, and that's what you're here for, and you can break this down, that sometimes it's a struggle. When black fathers want to be in their kids' life, that sometimes it's not them not wanting to be there, but it could be actually the mother preventing them, creating barriers. And I know that's not always the case, but these are things that this is popular talk, especially among black men. And you hear horror stories like, the baby mama dramas, just mama dramas and things like that, especially when it comes to the custody of the kids. And so, can you break down for us, very, very quickly if you can, that process on how joint custody or that whole process in child support and things like that? Because I think that'd be good for our listeners just to know that process. And I think to alleviate or debunk any stereotypes that, the mother always wins, or has that been historically the case, and are things starting to change for that because the system recognizes we're kind of being kind of biased, or even sexist, I would say, towards, one side than the other.
Absolutely. And I love to talk about this because I definitely know that perception, and that perception was real.
Oh, wow.
It was real.
Wow.
That there were a lot of men who were stepping forward to be fathers and to be the best father they can, to spend time with their children.
Right.
And sometimes it's the mother. Sometimes it's just the system in general that prevents that from happening.
Right.
What I know based on based on the statistics and the studies that are across the nation, that children who grow up with parents who are active in their lives have least likelihood of entering into the criminal justice system. And so if I am to prevent problems from happening and prevent crimes and prevent our young folk from having contact with the system, I need to work on the parents. I need to make sure that that child has both parents in their lives. And because of that, we have what we call our parental assistance court.
Okay.
We have right now 3 parental assistant court specialists. We call them our PACs. We will have, and eventually we'll have 6. Okay. We've just got more money to bring in some more PACs. Their job is to remove whatever the barriers are from whoever the alternate residential parent is, to remove whatever barriers it is for them to be a part of that child's life. You know, what the statute has changed as well. So what the law used to say, the law still says that if you are unmarried, the mother is presumed to be the guardian. That's the law still says that. But however now, once the father steps up to say, I am the father, I want to be part of it, then we have to start with a basic understanding that both parents should have the maximum participation in their child's life as possible. So both parents should have maximum participation. So for me, that means you all start off evenly. And then things make a difference, like if there's a big difference and the child has to get to school and the father's in another county, that we may not be able to do week on, week off. Or if there's other questionable things that happen, we may not be able to do it. But what the law says now is that you all start with each person having the maximum participation. And so it really depends on who the judge is, how they interpret maximum participation. But me and the magistrates at work for me all recognize that means equal time. Because I like to, when I have sometimes mothers on the case that come into the courtroom and they say, well, I only want him, he should only get to see him every other weekend. That's your opinion. Let's talk about that every other weekend. What does that mean? So if you are dating someone and you really want to get to know this person and you really like them and you're thinking, maybe we can do a little more. Maybe we could, if you're dating them and you tell the person that you're dating that you really want to spend time with them, but you can only spend time with them every other weekend, how does that make you feel?
Not appreciated.
Not appreciated. If I'm only seeing you every other weekend, by the time I get to see you, I'm relearning everything that I learned 2 weeks ago. And it takes time. And
that's what, and just again, we getting deep into my personal story, but like that's as a kid growing up, I never understood that because that was a system my daddy was on, and I got a great daddy, and I just didn't understand like why am I limited to every other weekend in a Wednesday? It's like as a child, it just didn't make sense, and I've gotten past that as I got older, and then you get mature, your brain development, all that stuff. But I just never understood that about the system, and kind of held a grudge against the system because of that.
I would, and that's why we strongly believe it should start with maximum participation, and that means week on, week off, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. But each parent should have the absolute maximum participation that they can. We encourage, we try our best to encourage parents to get along and talk to each other. If you got to go to work and your work hours are 9 to 5, and she got to go to work and her work hours are 6 to whatever.
You gotta balance it out.
Balance it out. Why don't you keep the child while she's at work and she keep the child while you're at work?
Sometimes adults are not adults, and that's why we have to come see you.
Absolutely. And so we work with parents on teaching them how important it is to co-parent.
And I know this is hitting a lot of souls out there right now. Some of those souls are in this room. Some of the crew, they taking notes right now. But really, I'm jotting some down now, just in case. But no, so if I'm a single mother, if I'm a mother or father, and and my partner's not allowing me to see my child for whatever reason, and I feel very fit to be a part of my child's life, and I want to, what is the process? What is from day one? Let's say, my mother's child is preventing me to see my child, and it's been 2 months. But maybe I'm reluctant because maybe I don't have the money to go through the process, get an attorney, and it's a lot of time. And maybe I feel like maybe she or he will change their mind, and I get to see them. But I just think the system, because of those perceptions, like I'm not gonna get I don't want to get put on child support. I'm already broke. I just I shouldn't have to go through this. It's stressful. So what is that process for people who don't know, and so they do know? And maybe this is touching somebody and maybe encourage them to go ahead and be a part of that process so they can be a part of the child's life.
Absolutely. We are making the process so much easier than what you have explained what it used to be. And for me, we have labeled this year the year for the parent, where we are trying to do more to make people understand that it is okay to step up and try to be a parent. So you don't even necessarily have to have a lawyer to do this. You can go to the juvenile court website, and the forms are on there that you would have to fill out.
Okay.
If you don't think you have enough to pay for the filing of a petition, you can ask to be declared indigent, and we can waive some of the costs for the filing. We do have to charge for serving the other parent, but other than that, we can waive a lot of the costs, so it doesn't cost that much.
Yeah, I hear that.
And then absolutely.
Some things can be waived.
Absolutely. And we recommend that you come down early as possible, because court hearings do take a while.
Right.
The sooner you get down there, the better.
Okay.
We have, as I was talking earlier about the PACs, our parental court specialists, parental assistant court specialists. I had to say, what does that stand for? They are all trained mediators.
Okay.
And so literally you can file your petition. You can say, I would love to try mediation.
Right.
The parent gets served.
Right.
They say, I'll agree to mediation.
Right.
You can do mediation before your case even goes to court, or work out an agreement as to what type of parenting time each parent gets, and just have it announced when you come back to court.
Okay.
And so things can happen a lot quicker.
If both parties are
in agreement. If they're not in agreement, then there is going to be court hearings that may take some time.
Right.
But from the very first time you go to court, there will be an interim order as to parenting time.
Okay.
And so the magistrate that usually sets it from the beginning is a magistrate after my own heart, and he's going to do maximum time as possible, unless you give him a good reason why you shouldn't until the next court order.
What's going on, everybody? This is your host and creator of Deep Dish Conversations, Jerome Moore, and I know you're enjoying this episode that you're watching currently. Make sure you hit that notification button and hit subscribe so you won't miss any of these amazing episodes. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for all love and support, and continue watching the episode. I'll holler. This is powerful, and it's like, again, like I was directly affected by that system, right? Yeah. And so I think this is good. I think many of us are, directly and indirectly affected by the juvenile court system, whether people know it, understand it or not.
Absolutely.
Technically. So I hope this really breaking this down, and again, especially for black men. I can't really speak for black women. I'm not a black woman, but especially for black men, that we know we can be in our child's life, and it hasn't cost us thousands of dollars.
Absolutely.
Here in Nashville, anyway. I'm pretty sure, like, in different states and stuff, there's different statutes and things like that. But at least now you can go down, go to the website. Some of the fees can be waived, and you can go ahead and go through that process, and it's not as complex as people maybe overthink it, because it's just already in a stressful place. You're already in a stressful place.
Absolutely. And can I add one more thing,
Go
too?
ahead.
You said,
Go ahead.
A lot of people don't want to file because they're afraid it'll get set on child support.
Right.
You will have to pay child support.
Okay.
However.
How is that? Because
so the
we
child
get a lot
support.
of advice. I don't think
absolutely.
This is free legal advice right now.
The child support guidelines changed a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And so now it looks at both parties' income.
Okay.
So it doesn't just look at what the father's making and come directly from the father. It looks at what the mother's making and what the father's making.
Okay.
It looks at how much time each parent is spending with your child.
Okay.
So if both of y'all are week on, week off, it's 182.5 equal.
Okay.
And so 182.5, and both of y'all making minimum wage, there's probably not going to be child support.
Okay.
If you make a little more money than she does, and you're still at equal time,
right.
you may have to pay a little.
Right.
But the way that the child support, and you can actually go to the state of Tennessee website, pull in its child support calculator, pull up the child support calculator, put in the numbers on your own, and see how much your child support is going to be.
Look, the calculator, that people are probably going to go straight to that. Let me see if I really need to go.
Right.
Let me see if I can mediate this myself, because this calculator ain't favorable. Maybe should have told him about the calculator.
You get credit for if you pay health insurance for your child, that goes into child support calculation.
Right.
If you pay child care, like if the child has to go to daycare, that gets a part of your calculation. If you have other children.
We're going to turn this into a whole how-to, video,
absolutely.
A whole tutorial, because we saving people some time and people are relieved. I didn't know.
Absolutely.
But this is, oh, wow, this is powerful. I had no idea this is where this conversation was going to be going. But I think I just know the perception, as you mentioned, out there, especially for Black men, on dealing with this situation. And you just made it very simple. You just simplified it for a lot of people, I think. And hopefully a lot of people will be down at the courthouse and you see a wave of people. Hey, I see you on Deep Dish. Let's get to it.
We will welcome the people to come.
I want to change subjects.
So another third of the cases that we handle are the cases where parents are alleged to have abused or neglected their children.
Okay.
That's about a third of the cases.
Okay.
So literally what I tell people is, when I think about what I do in juvenile court, 2/3 of the stuff I do is about what the parents are doing to their children.
Wow. So what are some of the craziest cases that you've heard that have been afflicted on kids by their own parents?
Yeah.
Just give us one. Just one to be good.
These are difficult cases.
Right.
These are the ones that emotionally make you hurt.
Right.
We had a parent who had unfortunately a drug addiction that was hard to overcome.
Wow.
And this is probably one of the worst cases I've had of child abuse, where the parent, in order to feed their addiction, was allowing their child to be used.
Wow.
And that's a difficult case, because our job, we don't prosecute the parents for anything. That happens in criminal court.
Right.
But what our job is to do is to figure out what's best for that child, whether that child should remain with that parent and get some services in, or whether that child should go to a relative or to a family friend or someone in the community, or whether that child has to go into the custody of the state, the foster care system. And, to be truthful, our state isn't designed to take care of children well.
Right.
And so that's like the worst, that's the least stress. I mean, that's the worst option that you want to do.
Right.
You would love to be able to have children go back to their families.
Right.
But sometimes the offenses are so extreme, or the drug addiction is so deep that it's hard to get them to a point where they can actually parent their child. And those are hard cases.
Yeah, that is.
Those are super hard cases.
And that's stuff that, you hear, probably often, but, we see on TV, you hear, you're like, man, we see in movies and stuff, like, man, how could they, but like these are things that actually go on in our own communities and cities. It might be your neighbor, you just never know sometimes. Dang. And,
we'll have cases, and it's unfortunate sometimes that, you think of us being the it city.
Right.
But it's not it for everyone.
Right.
And so a lot of our parents who are driven to do things because they've been left out.
Right.
If they are homeless, if they are unable to get good meals, food.
Right.
We have so many people in our community that live in food deserts. And if you can't feed your child, what happens to that child?
Right.
That child ends up becoming neglected.
Right.
And a lot of times it's not because they wanted to neglect, but they were unable to get themselves in a position in our community where they can really be a good parent.
Wow. And so I have two more things. It's on my list of questions that I really, well, 3 actually, that I want to talk to you about. One is the school to prison pipeline, and how you see that being, how the school to prison pipeline, how your court impacts that, in what way?
So I'm going to answer this in 2 ways.
Okay.
Number one, there's definitely no question about it that there is a school to prison pipeline. What we know is that if youth who are expelled or suspended from school have a higher likelihood of ending up in the criminal justice system. And it makes common sense.
Right.
Because if I'm suspended from school and if I'm going home
Right.
and probably my parents have to work
Right.
and they're not home to supervise,
Right.
what do I normally do?
I'm gonna stop you right there. And this is I guess this is a subs point to that question, or to your response in a way. How does SRO, school resource officers, have an effect on that school to prison pipeline? Because thinking if in Nashville, I think black kids, black students, students of color are suspended or expelled like at 70%. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, it's crazy. But if I'm interacting or coming in contact with a police officer, wouldn't that kind of make me more likely to probably be in the criminal justice system as a youth? And I know this is a conversation that's been going on. We're gonna have Safer Schools on here to talk more about it. But I want like, just like, what's your take on police officers in schools?
So,
and how that maybe affects the school to prison pipeline?
Absolutely. I think my response to having school resource officers in the school has changed and evolved over time.
Okay.
I think when they first started in the schools, there was a more of an enforcement type presence of the schools. The SROs that we have in the school now are totally opposite from that. I am super impressed. Literally, it started under Chief Anderson, but it has continued under Chief Drake,
right,
where there is a push for the SROs to understand trauma,
right,
to understand the youth that they work for,
right,
to not be enforcement in the schools,
right,
but to be a support.
Right.
And they're doing that. They train with us.
Okay.
They train with the health department.
Okay.
They have an absolutely wonderful program. I can't think of the name of it, but if a child is a part of any type of crime,
right,
or a neglect dependency or any type of police call,
right,
then that night they call the school and say this child needs to be kept safe,
right,
because they understand the trauma might make that child. If I'm sitting here watching my parent get arrested, I'm uptight and I got to go to school the next day. I'm uptight at school,
right,
and so now the school knows. Don't agitate that kid.
Right.
Don't do anything to that kid.
Right.
Let that kid cool down. And so there's been a big push.
And so, I've talked to MNPD Chief Drake about this, like in our conversations, community organizing stuff, about SROs, and so the 2 things that I hear and have heard is that it's the school staff that don't understand the roles of SROs. So they try to make them do things that's not really like behavior issues. That's not what they're there to do. And so that's been the confusion, and why a lot of people have problems with SROs in the schools, because they think they're enforcing law when that's what they should be doing. That's one thing. The second thing is that why not have mental health professionals or counselors, school counselors, which Nashville, the state is in, we don't meet the ratio. I think it's like 250 to 1 or something like that. One counselor for every 250 students. Why not have more of those professionals and let police do policing outside, like fight crime, do that, and not overburden themselves with trying to be exclusive to everything, be like in every fraction of like this national life. Like, let the school be a place where, like, you get some school counselors and what's the name? I can't remember the name of, like, the proper name. I should know this. I can't remember.
Therapist, school therapist. Well, I'm going to stop you. Let me just say,
Go ahead.
You are in the heart and the mind of all of us that are in the system talking about these conversations. Right. And one of the things that Mayor Cooper just did was the unprecedented fully funding the school system.
Right.
And what Dr. Battle has done is said we are using this money for counselors, for nurses, and for restorative justice practitioners in the schools. Perfect. And so the money that they've gotten is for that purpose.
Perfect.
And I think I can't remember if it was under Chief Drake or Chief Anderson, but they did move out the school resource officers from the alternative schools.
Right.
And because exactly what you were saying, the alternative schools were using those school resource officers to try and arrest kids and and they were like, no, this is not healthy. This is not. And Dr. Myron Franklin is over there now. Okay. And it has made a huge difference in the attitude and the comfort level of the students that are in there. Right. Because they were used to seeing police in a negative way. Right. Exactly. And so now that they don't see the police, they're calmer. Right. They're more, and so I think that the schools and the police are moving towards that type of model. But I will say that the SRO units that we have now, they want to be in schools. They want to work with kids. Right. They want to show kids the positive part. Right. It wasn't always like that. Right. It was like sometimes the SROs, that was your assignment, whether you wanted it or not, whether you were good with kids or not, you were over there. Right. And that is not the system anymore. The system now is you want to do it, you want to understand kids, you want to work with kids, and that's why they
and just to be transparent, I know Chief Drake. We've talked, and I know in the future, because he referenced that he has colleagues like in Philadelphia, I believe, that have completely removed SROs and things are fine, and he's open to that. I know in the future to transitioning to if there's a better model. I know from what he told me, he's willing to take that on. It's at a not maybe at the pace that maybe community wants him to take it on at a time, but he's willing to take that on and transition it and have those conversations. And hopefully we can get Chief Drake on here.
You will.
Dr. Battle too. Let's get them all
Dr.
on here.
Dr. Battle be here too.
How can we keep kids out of jail?
Absolutely. There are so many ways we can keep kids out of jail.
Let us know. How can we keep them out of jail?
There are so many things that we can do as a community to keep our youth out of jails. And I am happy to say that I started this job in 2014. And so we've been very intentional about keeping our records and seeing how many youth we have getting charged with things. Right. Since we looked at 2013, how many youth were being arrested in our community, and the number is around 4,000. At the end of 2020, that number was down to 1,000. Wow. And so we literally have decreased the number of youth who are being arrested by 60-something%. Wow. And it's not just a testament to me, but it's a testament to us collaborating with the schools, with the police, with our community-based organizations, just with the whole community about arresting youth is not the answer.
Arresting youth is not the answer.
It is not the answer. It doesn't serve serve a purpose. Right. And the more that you put a youth in the system, the longer they stay and usually the worse they get. Okay. And so what we have learned, and I this is totally under Chief Drake, they are going to start doing diversions by themselves without any court. We're supporting them on how we do our diversions. They're going to be doing the same. And so instead of even thinking about arresting or even giving a citation, they're going to, you get in trouble, you get picked up for shoplifting, we're going to go ahead and send you to this little program. Okay. And you do this program, and we're good. Okay. Wow. We have diverted about 70% of the cases that get referred to the juvenile court system. And we're diverting them, which means we are not prosecuting. We're not doing a petition. Right. We're not doing anything that goes on their record. Right. And we're recommending them to work in programs within our community. Right. We have our diversion partnership program. We call it our DP2. And so literally, if I have a child that is in East Nashville that gets a charge, some type of charge, and we do a risk assessment that's evidence-based, and we determine what their risk level is for them to reoffend. We determine what their needs are, And based on that risk assessment, we will say, we got this good program over in East Nashville, close to the house, doesn't require transportation, doesn't require costs or anything. We're going to refer them to that program. Because we know that youth who are working through their problems in the community with support, with help, with mentors are going to keep them out of the system. And that's what we have to do. It's trying to make the community understand that locking people up doesn't solve problems. It doesn't get to the heart of why did that child do this offense. So let's figure out why they did the offense, and then we can determine what we need to do about it.
Last question. You have a lot of power. You are a decision maker in the city of Nashville. How do you make sure that you're using your power in the best way possible that benefits the community, it benefits parents, it benefits kids?
So, I believe that those who are in power have to use it to their good, and to the good of the whole community. For me, it's my spiritual base. And for me, it's knowing that each and every day that I'm doing things that God would be pleased with. And so that keeps me grounded. I am in this position because this is the time for season that God put me here. It's nothing I did on my own, nothing that happened just so happened. But God intentionally had me in this position for a reason. And I know each and every day I am here to make decisions that affect positively his community. And so that's why I strongly believe that every day, as long as I keep God first, that I'll be able to use the power that God has given me for the benefit of everybody.
Well, there you have it. The Honorable Judge Calloway. We're actually getting applause up in this thing. But no, I appreciate it, Judge Calloway. I appreciate who you are as a person. Appreciate how you use your power in the community for Nashville. And I would encourage anybody to reach out to Judge Calloway. She does a lot of speaking engagement, a lot of programs, a lot. But, whether it's a parent, whether it's, a youth, whether it's a church, whether it's an organization, I know she would make herself available to best serve Nashville. And again, this is all about giving people their flowers too as well. So I want to give you your invisible flowers in pizza form, just for everything that you do and what you represent for Nashville. And I'm pretty sure there's a young black girl that's looking, and this black girl magic and everything, and hopefully she feels inspired to one day be a judge and one day be in a position like yours to create change in that community. So I appreciate you. I thank you. And y'all keep watching Deep Dish Conversations, because it's going to keep deeper. Deep. And she did not finish her pizza because she was doing she was giving that dropping them gems, and I knew she wouldn't finish it. She would have to take it home. And maybe
I'm gonna finish it in about an hour.
Now the family gonna finish it for you. But now, thank you. And I hope y'all got these gems. We're gonna put out a whole tutorial, education tutorial, $5, $5.99 to get how to. A $5.99 how to. But now, thank you. Yeah, and that's a wrap. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Nah, this was hey, this is really good.